They're lying to you. India's economic miracle? It's a facade, an elaborate PR stunt dressed up as progress, with Narendra Modi as the lead actor on a stage made of smoke and mirrors. Behind the flashy headlines and glowing speeches is a country where jobs are vanishing, poverty is rising, and even cow dung is counted as economic growth. Yep, cow dung. Welcome to Modinomics, the art of making failure look like success. Honestly, I have to applaud him because he is a master at what he does. Modi came to power in 2014 promising economic transformation. He talked big make in India, digital India, startup India. He waved around slogans like confetti. People were sold a dream, a bold new India, modern and booming. But instead they got wait in India, criminal India, and blow up India. Here's the catch, that dream was never real. It was manufactured, just like a lot of the data his government now pushes out. Let's start with GDP. On paper, India's GDP looks like it's growing fast. It's often showcased as one of the world's fastest growing major economies. But here's the thing no one tells you. The numbers are fudged. In 2015, the Modi government changed the way India calculates GDP. Overnight, growth rates magically went up, without any real economic change. Economists, including those from India's own statistical agencies, were baffled. Arvind Subramanian, Modi's former chief economic advisor, came out and said India's GDP growth figures between 2011 and 2017 were overstated by 2.5 percentage points. That's not just a small accounting error, that's cooking the books. And it gets worse. India's GDP per capita, the actual measure of how the average citizen lives, tells a very different story. As of the most recent World Bank figures, India sits at around $2,500, whereas the global average is just over $13,000. India is also trailing behind countries like Sri Lanka, Vietnam, and even Bangladesh. Yes, Bangladesh. A country that India used to mock is now economically outperforming it in key metrics. Modi doesn't mention that in his speeches.
Oh my God.
What about inflation? Well, the government says inflation is under control, but ask the average Indian trying to buy tomatoes or cooking gas. Prices are through the roof. Official inflation rates don't capture the daily squeeze people feel. Retail inflation, especially food inflation, has consistently stayed high, eroding real incomes and crushing the poor and middle class. This will only get worse as Modi bowed down to Trump earlier this year and signed a trade deal forcing India to buy expensive American oil and gas rather than cheap Russian oil and gas. Employment? That's a whole different horror show. India is facing a youth unemployment crisis, with some estimates showing unemployment rates for young graduates hovering above 40%. In rural areas, jobs are disappearing fast, replaced not by modern employment but by desperate schemes like MGN-Rega, where people dig ditches for 200 rupees a day. Not because it's good work, but because there's literally nothing else to do. Have you heard of the broken window fallacy? It's an economic fallacy in which breaking a window and spending money on repairing it stimulates the economy and boosts GDP. But obviously, this is an illusion, and you'd be better off not breaking any windows in the first place. The Modi government, of course, doesn't like bad news, so they've done what any insecure regime does: hide the data. They delayed the release of job reports. They changed labor survey methods. In 2019, a leaked government report showed unemployment was at a 45-year high, so the government simply refused to publish it. That's not transparency, that's censorship. But it's not surprising given that Modi's whole specialization is in brainwashing media crackdowns and silencing those who oppose him. And now, let's talk about poverty. Modi proudly claims he's lifting millions out of poverty. But the truth? India has actually added millions back into poverty. The pandemic didn't help, but the failure of economic policy was already in motion. The Pew Research Center estimated that the Indian middle class shrank by a third in 2020 alone. That's tens of millions pushed back into poverty in a single year. Meanwhile, billionaires like Gautam Adani saw their wealth explode. How convenient. But Modi's team knows how to keep the illusion alive. They've turned GDP into a political tool. Want to hear something absurd? India includes illegal mining, smuggled goods, and yes, even cow dung and homemade pickles in its GDP calculations. You heard that right. Cow dung is part of India's economic growth story now. In fact, the Ministry of Jal Shakti actually proposed including cow dung trade in the GDP to boost rural economy figures. You can't make this stuff up. So while the headlines scream India fastest growing economy, What they don't say is that a good chunk of that growth is fueled by statistical gimmicks and glorified manure. What's even more twisted is how Modi spins it all as a nationalist triumph. Any criticism of the economy becomes anti-India. Economists who speak out get sidelined. Independent voices are dismissed as urban naxals or anti-nationals. It's not just mismanagement, it's authoritarian economic gaslighting. And let's not forget demonetization. In 2016, Modi made 86% of India's currency worthless overnight, claiming it would eliminate black money and end terrorism. Neither happened. Instead, small businesses were crushed. Daily wage workers were left starving, and the economy took a hit it still hasn't recovered from. The RBI later admitted that 99.3% of the cash came back, meaning the black money stayed and only the poor suffered. What a coincidence, huh? Then came GST, the goods and services tax. It was supposed to simplify India's tax system. Instead, it turned into a bureaucratic nightmare for small traders and local businesses. Multiple tax slabs, confusing rules, and compliance chaos led to shutdowns across the country. Meanwhile, big corporations adapted just fine. Guess who helped write the rules? That's right. Modi basically took India back to the days of the license Raj, where bureaucracy and red tape were rampant. This is Modinomics: punish the small, protect the big, and pretend it's all part of some visionary master plan. And while all this is happening, Modi is busy building statues and temples, changing names of cities, and obsessing over image management. His government spends billions on PR, while hospitals run out of oxygen and farmers kill themselves in record numbers. It's not governance, it's theater. Internationally, India is hailed as a rising power. Palki Sharma, the Gaudiya media, and the horde of Indian netizens brag about the Indian century. But it's a hollow rise. The foundation is weak. Real development isn't happening. Infrastructure projects are riddled with corruption. Rural education is collapsing. Healthcare is a joke, and yet the focus is always on optics. Build a bullet train, launch a satellite, ignore the villages still without clean drinking water and working toilets. Meanwhile, Modi's loyal media parrots the success story, flooding news cycles with distractions, religion, nationalism, and enemy conspiracies. Criticizing the economy becomes secondary when every night's headlines are about Pakistan, Bollywood, or some WhatsApp rumor about beef. So why does this illusion work? Because Modi has mastered the art of emotional politics. He doesn't sell logic, he sells pride. He tells people they are part of a great Hindu civilizational revival, a resurgent Bharat, and in return, they look past their empty pockets and lost jobs. It's nationalism 101. It's not about what he delivers, it's about how he makes them feel, but feeling proud doesn't put curry on the table. India needs real reform, real investment in health, education, and employment, not just statues and slogans. It needs honest data, not doctored reports. It needs leadership, not demagoguery. Modinomics is a sham, and like all shams, it's only a matter of time before the cracks become too big to hide. If you're tired of the lies and hungry for the truth, then hit that subscribe button and drop a like and comment as well. Thanks for watching.